Yeah, g'day guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've had to redo the opening on this video. This was the start of an 11-day road trip we did to a whole heap of Australian bucket list locations. I did this trip 2 years ago, and while I had the time of my life, this time I had the chance to make some changes and the chance to redeem myself on a couple of things that I wasn't, well, I constantly kicked myself in the backside with ever since doing the tour. But yeah, the reason I've had to redo this video is because everything fell apart. So we were headed out to our first stop, Broken Hill, West New South Wales, and probably got about 3/4 of the way out there when I pulled in, and we pulled over to a roadside stop to fix ourselves up with some sandwiches and whatnot. And I noticed some funny dots on the back of my car. Anyway, I noticed that they were wet, and they just looked a little funny. So I put my finger on the back of one of the dots, and lo and behold, it's slippery like oil. So it was pretty much sprayed all over the back of my car, dots everywhere. So I sort of trailed down to the back underneath of my car, and at the back underneath of my car sprayed over the fuel tank and various other components of the running gear under the car was more oil. Anyway, turned out to be engine oil, and it was pushing out of the rear main seal. So that really threw me off guard, being the start of a 6,000 kilometre trip around half Australia. And when we got out to our location, it used to be opened. We got out there, I came out to find out that the land has since been fenced off and it's in private property. So long story short, I'd found out off one of the locals that the father once owned the property. It was left to the two brothers, and there was a dispute between the two brothers, and they don't talk, and the properties had since been fenced off, so access to that location was not existent. Now I did speak with a photographer from out that way who does workshops, and he did say something like this to me, but I figured, you know, I'd go and find it out for myself. My deterrence there with him was that he wanted to charge me $1,500 to shoot sunset out there. Now, for me, I don't need a photography workshop. It was really just access to that land. So for the sake of $1,500 and, you know, half an hour of photography at a sunset for nothing that I'm going to get anything out of other than access to the land, I think that's a bit steep. So I chose not to go ahead with that. Anyway, after getting out there and finding out about that, we moved on to find something else in the area. Now if I go back, well, when I go back, I will redeem myself for a sunset here at a different spot, a spot that I should have done it in to begin with. By the time we had trekked in and out of there 2 times, you know, both Deb and myself were not wanting to trek back in there for a 3rd time, so we opted to do sunset at another spot. And you look, while it's okay, and I'll put it up in the video. While it's okay, it could have been better. Anyway, that's a good excuse to go back sometime. So yeah, my apologies with the opening of the video. As you can see, it was just chaos had unfolded, and yeah, in amongst all of the chaos, I failed to do the opening to that video. So anyhow, I'll push on with everything else, and I do hope you enjoy the video regardless of the mishap with the opening of it. Go. Let's see what we can do with this. Alright guys, so we ended up coming into the living desert where the sculptures are. I didn't like the sculptures. There's too many people up there. There's pathways walking through there. Doesn't look the best. So what I did was out where you are now, I set my camera up on one of the rocky outcrops over there. I shot Debbie out here on the rocky outcrop here. You know, she was up here and the sun setting out here with that big vast desert out there to the right. I actually don't mind the composition, but what I had to do with this one was put on the 1:400mm lens, zoom in a little bit just to get a bit of compression in the scene, and I had to get far away so that way Debbie was still of a size out here that looked proportionate to the area that she's in. But you know, it's a little hard with the long lens because it gets vibration really easy. So you got to up your ISO to have your shutter speed up high enough so it doesn't get that vibration and look bad in the image. But the sun is indeed just about to set behind the horizon. I'm going to hang for just a minute and I'll shoot one more shot out there and yeah, see how it goes. I'll load both of those shots up or whatever one works best. And we're going to head through here, from here through to Menindee Lakes, to a campsite over there. We should be able to get up in the morning and shoot a sunrise there with any luck. But yeah, I tell you what, it's not easy when you've been on the road all day long and your original plan gets blown out the water. There's not much I could do about that though. Unfortunately, you can hire some guides around here to take you in there, but yeah, for me, I don't think it's worth it. Well, not what they're asking to take you in there anyway. It is what it is. There's a lovely place out here, and yeah, well, I've definitely made the most of that. Got gorgeous rocky outcrop through here and a lovely desert scene out there, so I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, we will move on and let me know what your comments, what you think in the comments below. I will, don't forget to like and subscribe. This video will be joined with sunrise tomorrow morning. So yeah, don't run away, hang in there for a sec, and tomorrow morning will be up and we'll get into it.
Alright guys, so I am down here in the Menindee Lakes on a lake called Lake Pameru, and it's full of all these trees that have drowned over the years from the too much water, but it leads for a pretty good scene. Something we don't have a lot of near where I live, but out here it's of abundance. So what I've done is framed up the 4 trees you can see behind me here, or actually 5 trees. There was a little bit of splash of colour that come up in the sky before. It wasn't Oi! I was just having to call out to Debbie. She's walking up the shoreline looking for me, and I'm out in the water. Too funny, too funny. But yeah, there was a splash of colour in the sky before. It wasn't too much, but I'll just jump behind the camera and give you a look. I'm shooting with the 16 to 35 mil, so ultra wide angle to be able to fit the scene in. I was going to shoot with a longer lens, but the apps and things didn't work out for me this morning. When I looked at it last night, it said the sun would rise over here, but it actually rose over here. So when I got up this morning, I was in a bit of a panic, and I had to come out and into the water, and this was the scene that I found the cleanest scene to shoot. So anyway, I'll jump over on your side, I'll give you a look. I've shot out here as well, which I think will come up good as a black and white. So we'll see. I'll come over and give you a look at what I'm doing. Yeah, so you can see here the 5 trees here, and I've done pretty well when I've come out into the water. I've been able to create some separation between each of the trees. The other thing I like about this scene is that it's not a full mumbo jumbo of mess. So in other words, it's not too chaotic. I am hanging in the water for a minute just to see what happens with the light as the sun comes up, just to see if it'll give a bit more of a splash into the sky with colour, or if the sunlight will just shine through and make it look, you know, do a whole thing of its own. But I'll just turn this camera for you. I also shot that scene there, which I don't mind as well. It might, I don't know, I'm going to try this one as a black and white. I don't do a lot of black and white photos. The only thing that bothers me is there's not a lot of contrast in that scene, so I'm just not too sure if that'll work out. But yeah, if it does, I'll chuck it up in the video. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. It's a lovely place out here. I don't have too much time to muck around out here because I'm actually on, I'll bring this back around over here for a second. In there. Just getting that ready in case that light decides to splash through again. But yeah, I'll come back around to the camera. But yeah, I don't have a lot of time here. On an 11-day road trip that sort of wraps through the back of west of New South Wales, over and into South Australia, into the Flinders Ranges, and then we're going to head out to one of the salt lakes, and then over to the Great Australian Bight, and then from the Great Australian Bight we're going to head into Melbourne and do a whole heap of things in there. But so it's about 6,000 k's all up. But yeah, pretty happy to be out here, man. I'll hang around and see what this light does, and if I can wrap off another shot, I'll load up whatever shots work best.